Okay, that's that for that notebook. Communication, talking with our neighbors. We take communication for granted, even with the varied languages we find here in Tunrath, but when we suddenly find ourselves among other intelligent species who don't share our culture, history, DNA, or vocal cords, it requires a huge amount of effort for the beginning of rudimentary chatting. This quick overview will set the stage for what to expect when communicating with our neighbors. Yawning again. Maybe that's a form of communication. It means I'm tired. Leave me alone. The Mofang were the first non-humans we met with at least some level of similar physical vocal generating abilities. They picked up human words quickly. This early mimicry resulted in what the species became to be called. Even though they were able to mimic single words and simple phrases, it became evident over the years that huge grammatical differences were not easily overcome. Some have proposed that the difficulty may have arisen because the Mofang insisted on attempting to learn every human language and as a result were never able to lock onto any consistent grammatical structure. Nevertheless, in spite of rudimentary sentence construction, it has been very easy to communicate, and it has been unnecessary for us to learn their language beyond a few simple phrases and proper names. If you'd like to learn more about communication with the Mofang, please contact Tam. Villain have presented a particular communication challenge. From what we can gather, they produce sounds using the two large reed-like structures inside opposite sides of their heads. The vibrations generated are channeled to resonance chambers in their skulls, where they are combined into a complex low-frequency dual tone. The low-frequency bitonal sounds are not only hard for humans to hear and resolve, but impossible for us to mimic. And the villain's hearing is also oriented toward low frequency, so they are unable to hear most of sounds associated with human speech. Therefore, communication with the villain has relied on technology. They have adapted consoles, which the villain fluently control with their vocalization for use by other species. Over the years, some individuals of other species, including a few humans, have learned to communicate very effectively using this method. Humans have been able to pick out some higher frequency characteristics of certain key villain words over the years, and although we can't speak to them in any way that the villains can understand, we are occasionally able to hear and recognize these words when spoken distinctly by the villain. If you'd like to learn more about communication with the villain, please contact Vito. And the Arai. None of the stages of the Arai morphology have any vocalization apparatus because of the obvious synchronization of the barnacle flash and the ability of the pawns to provide for and address the needs of the polyarchs. It was assumed that the species could communicate effectively. It was not until Farley began to spend large amounts of time in the polyarch antechamber that the first clues to this communication became evident. After months of research, Farley began to have limited success with receiving some kind of simple messages that were coming from the polyarchs. It is apparent now that the polyarchs have been attempting to communicate the entire time, but they themselves had been experimenting with various channels until they finally got a response from Farley. After this breakthrough, others were able to tune in to the polyarchs and learn to listen. Both the polyarchs and the pawns have a simple organ that can sense human vocal frequency, enabling them to sense simple responses from humans, but over the years Farley was able to learn to speak to the polyarchs via a related form of extrasensory transmission. Contact Farley. Okay. And now we have the book. Seed information. Hey, that looks familiar. Bastard seeds were first documented about 150 Earth years ago. They occur about once every 400 days if the trees remain healthy. Natural seed swaps occur between pairs of seeds that we now know drop simultaneously from healthy trees in paired spheres. When each seed was touched by species in sphere, the swap occurred, sending an ambassador from each sphere to the paired sphere. Location of the swap is defined by the location of the pairs of seeds. After the first swap, the seeds recharged quickly, allowing for a quick return. First meetings were intense but naturally short. It was quite a surprise for both the Mofang and us. Over time, the seeds required more time to recharge, producing longer visits between species. Everyone who arrives is familiar with the collector seeds. The bright light that we were all drawn to right before the event that brought us here is a collector seed. What new arrivers may not be aware of is that these seeds, like all seeds, come in pairs. When the tree drops a collector seed on the ground, it signals that its twin has begun its quest for a new being. That search may take hours or it may take years. When an appropriate situation, unnatural threat of death, is found, the seed activates and swaps a smaller but varying size sphere from Earth, or whatever appropriate homeworld, here to Hunrath. As Hunrath became more populated, we would watch for a newly dropped collector seed, collect it, and place it in the entry cannon area. This allowed us to provide a more predictable entry experience for new arrivers and provide a single area to collect any resources that may have come along with the new arriver. Okay. Unlike ambassador seeds and mother seeds, collector seeds do not seem to survive. The inner core is spent, leaving only the lifeless outer husk. Mother seeds, postulated but unverified, first suggested by Almahamsa 2232 BH. The notion of mother seeds extrapolates the behavior of the lesser seeds to a superseed. She posited that the process that actually created the paired spheres was similar to all other swaps but on a much grander scale. The idea is that two seeds from a mother tree were scattered on the galactic winds to find appropriately similar environments. When matches were found, some process was triggered that swapped large portions of the landscape between vastly different worlds. Alma further noted that the tree's location in the center of the spheres suggested that the trees grew from these mother seeds. Because of these similarities, it has been conjectured that reswapping the entire environmental spheres might be possible with a larger scale version of the ambassador seed machine. Okay. That's it. Okay. Lots of reading. I don't think I can get back there to anything else. Doesn't look like it. More books, but nothing to pick up. More cards, poker. A wrench. Oh.
Well, I feel like I should say something. We haven't heard from Shivar. So, assume that Shavar, well, the attack is inevitable. We just don't know when. So, Shavar and her family, and others she trusts, I guess, well, they'll arrive when they can, without giving, like, covertly. So the plan will happen, in spite of our, we're locking down as much as possible here, and moving everybody out. CW will stay here, and I'll go to Array at the last possible moment. Most are gone. There's just a few left here now. The mayor got out early. I don't even know why I'm recording this. It's like somehow live on or something. I guess this has meaning if someone listens, but who? A new one? A new arriver. Oh, God, the kiosk out front. I need to update that message.
So this is just a replay of the intro, it sounds like. Let's see if there's anything extra.
was just beautiful. But something called me about it. Yeah. Like, tell you I was gonna freak it out. You're trying to follow him. Trying to get another look at it. I get to see it again. I came to the place where it had disappeared. When I looked, I found nothing. Next year, through the sky again. It seemed like it was looking for something. Looking for someone. And then it found me, and it found me. Found me. Found me. Found me. Found me. It found me.
Okay. So that's it. We'll flip it back around and leave it there. No, that's the temporary. Back to reward item. Yeah. Okay. Somebody drew some pictures. Doesn't look like I can interact with any of them. This is definitely something. So, one seed pair. Find planets with similar atmospheres. Swap. Tree from seed. Heart. Heart connected. Path open when mature. Heart superposition. 4 species meet. What happens at fruition? Swap where, home, when, maybe dead. More seed pairs scattered throughout the universe. Why scattering? Okay, so well, I'll take a picture of this too. And I think I've looked at everything in here now. Oh. I did see something there. But it's blocked off. Looks like by another out of place sphere chunk. Oh, I should probably... Now I can go back and forth more easily. Oh, what's this? Getting close. Okay. Really? So that's the sphere, and there was a staircase up there, and that's where this thing was. Okay. Now, what's this do? Oh. Interesting. Wait. Oh. Okay. Keep track of that. Okay, need to leave that turned on. Let's see what I would look at out here. Oh yeah, I wanted to see if I could find a way to get through over here. Yeah, the other side of this wall. That's where I wanted to get to. So let's go through here. And yep, this puts me over where I wanted to be. So what's back here? Well, that sticks me up on top here. This is just a long path. Where am I going? Okay, so I'm up above here. Oh! That looks like the picture of the swapper thing. And it is in a sphere. Garbage dump. No power. So that looks like it slides it down, so I can get to it both ways. Okay, so I need to remember this is here. But I wasn't done looking around over here yet, so can I get up here? No. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Cool, up on top of the wall now. Get down here. This is another sphere. Okay, so I'm up above here. But it's on the opposite side as that other one. Can't get up there. Let's go this way. So I'm going above the house right now. Okay, so this is this walkway. So that sphere. Oh. It's a 3-digit code.